Hi there, welcome to another episode from Wristwatch Talk, and today we're going to be talking the collaboration between Omega and Swatch. That's the Moon Swatch. So I'll just give you a brief introduction as to how I got the watches, because I did two unboxing videos but I didn't go into any detail there. So for the Moon variation, I queued up, like many of you probably tried to do, on the 25th, 26th. So I was kind of camping out overnight, and I was very early on. I was there very early, so I was one of the first like 50 that were in the queue. So I managed to go in and have my choice of whichever one I wanted. Why did I go for the Moon variation? Well, I wanted the closest kind of original to the closest to the original Speedmaster, and this was the closest one to that. I had a backup plan. If I couldn't get the Moon, it would have been the Mars or the Mercury, preferably the Mercury, because if I could only get one watch, which was the case, because originally they said you could buy two, but they changed it to one per customer. So if I could only get one watch, then I wanted to get the Mercury, as it would have been a little bit more versatile in terms of what straps you could use for the watch. But luckily I was able to pick from any, and I went ahead and went with my first choice, which was the Moon dial. As you can see, it's got this kind of stepped dial which is nicely printed. It's got some nice loom application, and it's the closest to the original with this black dial. The other watches, we'll briefly go through them just to show you which ones they have again. But as you can see, here it is on the, just without the original strap. I was wearing it on the Nato that it came with for about a week, and decided to take that off and try it on some other straps. And so here you see it just with the spring bars. They are very sturdy spring bars, that you get a closer look at them. There is the, that's the case, you would have seen it already. In terms of styling, I think it's a really nice piece to have in a collection. If it was my only watch, I wouldn't be choosing this one. So if I could spend 250 euros, 200 pounds on a watch, would I go for this over anything else? I wouldn't. I would choose something that had a stainless steel case, not necessarily sapphire crystal, but Hesalite or plexiglass is fine with me, but a stainless steel case, an automatic movement, and a bracelet would be my choice for that money. But for somebody who has a few watches, maybe, who kind of wants this for the collection and for the meaning that it maybe represents, you know, the whole history that comes with Omega and Speedmaster, and having that on the dial and having just this kind of almost budget version, not almost, it is a budget version of a Speedmaster, then yeah, I think that's for someone like me, that's great. I know there are lots of opinions out there from people who actually own the original Speedmaster who maybe don't like it, some that do like it, but you can obviously see the build quality. I mean, you can't expect much for it being an Omega Speedmaster Swatch. For the money that they are selling for, you can't expect, you know, quality like an original Speedy. I mean, that's just not something that you should expect. But as I say, here's the watch. I got this one then, as I said, waiting in line, and I managed to pick it up on the day of release. One thing to note, just not sure if, I think enough people know this now, but I didn't know it until a couple of days after getting it, that you can see it there. There is actually a print there, a kind of footprint or boot print on the Moon there, which is quite cool. So far, by the way, the watch has held up really well. It's got a few scuffs on the crystal, but I quite like that. It adds a little bit of character, and you can polish that out with a bit of polywatch. That's easy enough done. I'm a fan of acrylic crystals. I'm I'm not really convinced that this crystal is the same quality as, say, the crystal on my Laurier Neptune, for example. I think the Hesalite on this, or the plastic on this, is a little bit softer, maybe, possibly thinner. But just a few, kind of get as close as I can. There's the dial. It looks really cool. The Mercury also, as I said, looks nice, but just a plain black dial suits me better. So just briefly touching on this, I want to give a shout out to another YouTuber, I think, and then his YouTube channel goes by the name Provane and More, and he made a video about the box, which is interesting. I didn't really realise I see this myself when I originally opened it. I actually thought, oh, the watch is a little bit difficult to get out, but supposedly the idea is that you kind of pull the watch up, and in doing so you pull this part of the box up and it kind of stands out like that, and then you can, yeah, I guess I actually removed this middle bit, but let's see if this works. If we just pull it up, and then I don't know, I think you do have to, I don't know, you can kind of remove it like that, but it's a bit tough. But it's just, I thought it was an interesting thing with the video that the box is kind of, middle part is pulled up, and then you can kind of take the paperwork out, which is quite a nice touch. So yeah, that's that. Anyway, let's put that to one side. So this is the Mars variation. I got quite lucky here. I was walking past the Swatch shop where I bought the first one, and there was a few people standing outside, and I went up to the kind of security guard that was standing there, and I said to him, "Have you got any in stock today?" And he said, "Yes, we had a small delivery." I didn't know what they had until I got in there and got to the checkout, and I managed to pick up the Mars, which would have been my second choice. So I got the two that I wanted, Mars and Moon, and I think he's probably my favourite out of the two. It's very cool that it is a kind of throwback to the Project Alaska Omega Speedmaster. Is, you know, very cool. I mean, you have these other variations with the same kind of dial layout, similar dial layout. There are differences, but he's the one that is kind of a homage to a very, you know, rare Speedmaster, and so that's pretty cool that they went ahead and did this. I think the red of the hands and whatnot really pop on that white dial, and it's not a kind of total white, it's kind of got a slight kind of cream color to it. It's not as white as, say, the bezel, and so you can probably see that on the video. And the nice thing is with this one is always with a white dial and acrylic crystal, you see the scratches a little bit less, and it's the same in this case. You'll see the scratches on this one a little bit less. The dial has this really nice kind of, you know, it really pops. Sorry about all the smudges on the back there, but the dial really kind of the colour of the case really pops, this nice red. And I think it fits with the white Velcro strap that it's paired with. Let's just hold them next to each other. Like I say, this one I paid retail for both of them. I wouldn't recommend paying over retail unless you really want one and don't want to wait. But don't pay over retail and expect kind of the quality. You are getting basically what you'd probably get from a cheaper Swatch, and they've kind of pushed up the price because of the whole Omega branding and collaboration. And obviously it's really cool for the money, and I would rather have one of these than a homage from a brand of Alibaba, for example. I would much rather, I choose this every time, even though you could probably buy a homage from Amazon or somewhere that looks similar to a Speedmaster that has a, you know, different name, and it's got a stainless steel case maybe and all that good stuff, but I'd rather choose this over that. And so yeah, that's just the Mars variation. Like I said, I'll just show you the pushers in action. Ooh, I've heard a lot of complaints about the Marcus, the second-hand pushing, hitting the markers, and that's right. Look, it kind of gets worse as it goes on, and then it kind of improves a little bit later on. But that doesn't bother me at all. You know, I'm not looking for I'm not looking for super accuracy here. And if I do use these, it'll be rare. You know, it's more about what that gives you, what the watch gives you. If you enjoy the history and all that of watches, you can kind of own this type of Project Alaska kind of representation of that watch, this kind of homage to that watch, and you can enjoy the history, and you can look into the history of the watch if that's something that you enjoy doing. You know, I enjoy that. I enjoy watching videos and reading about the history of particular models, and why they did this and why they did that and why they use these hands and so on. And so to have that now in this form from Omega and from Swatch, it's, you know, it's quite exciting, I find. Cool. So yeah, that's that. And so as I've got it on the just with the spring bars now, and I've taken the Nato off, I'll just give you a brief rundown of how I've felt this held up over the last week, and yeah, what I thought of it. So originally when I took it out of the box, I thought that it was really light. I thought that the case and everything was like surprisingly lightweight, and I wasn't extremely like, I wasn't unhappy, but I was expecting a little bit more heft to the watch. But once that kind of initial feeling kind of went, and I had it on wrist a little bit, and I wore it, and I, you know, used it daily, I found that the weight didn't bother me anymore. I got used to it, and then the kind of worry that, oh, it's quite plasticky and light would be a problem and it would get damaged easily has kind of, you know, I don't have that anymore because I've been using it, and I've noticed that there is no issue with it. So I have been kind of not careful, but I haven't knocked it anywhere majorly, so like not really hard. I've knocked the crystal a little bit off, you know, I've brushed it up against the wall and off the underside of the table when I put my hand underneath, but I've not knocked it hard enough to say, oh yeah, that means it's really strong because I smashed it off you know, off a table and it's still fine. I haven't had that experience yet. My kind of the area of kind of worry would be the pushers. If I was to knock those off something, kind of like on this side, would they kind of hold up or not? So that would be my biggest area of concern. But I can only let you know about that the more I have it, and if anything does kind of happen like that, then I will know how it holds up. The case doesn't have any scratches on it or anything, or major bumps or marks, and changing the strap was easy enough, but I was quite careful about it because obviously being this plastic material, I was a little bit worried that I would damage the lug holes or scratch the case, but I didn't scratch the case. I was quite careful. I did it quite slowly and got them out without any issue, but it was kind of difficult to get the strap off this one, more so just because there's not much space between the lugs and the spring bars and the kind of, you know, the strap and the lugs. As you can see, you have to like put some pressure on and kind of push down a bit, get your spring bar tool in there and pop them out. I wouldn't use the watch on a two-piece strap that doesn't have quick release spring bars. Not after taking that one off, because I would be a bit worried that I'd have to put too much pressure on the strap, the spring bars to get them out. So I'd recommend using a strap with quick release spring bars, only using these, or Nato straps. I'll just put one on quickly to show you how it is, how it looks. Let's say with this one. This is a Nato that I've had for a while now. So you can see it's kind of just thread through, and that's how it looks on this Nato. It looks quite cool. I want to get a Bond Nato strap, kind of like a light grey, because I have one, but it's a bit, I find the grey is a, I don't know, it's got a blue shade in my eye, to my eyes. So I want to get one that's more of a light grey, like the case, and black, and I think that would look cool. That's it on this Nato. I can put it on briefly, just give me a sec. Okay. Kind of give you an idea of how it would look on that Nato. And I mean, you could get an idea of how it would look on this. I think this looks quite cool as well on this tropic strap. So yeah, that's it so far. I'll do another video update at some point. I've seen this on a red Nato and I think that looks really cool. I think also on a black strap it would look really, it would really suit it. Look on this tropic one, I think that's a good look. As you can see here, I think that looks cool. So yeah, will I be getting any more? No, I don't think I will be. Not for me anyway. I wanted to get my wife one, and if I could get the Mercury then I would. And just briefly show you what they have on the website. So as you can see, they have the Sun, this is the Mercury, and this is the other one that I would get if I could get one. I think it has a cool look. You can see there are some differences to this and the Moon. So obviously the dial colour has that kind of grey inner part, and the case is obviously a different colour. It's like a much darker shade of grey. And the dials, the sub-dials, they also have that white kind of circle around them. Or is it just an image? Actually, I think it's actually just the product shot. I actually thought that there was some kind of a white circular thing here. I'm not sure if that's now the product shot or how it looks in other photos. I would need to check that. Just give me a second. I will check that briefly, because it's confused me a little bit now, because I thought that there was a Mercury Moon Swatch. Let's have a look. Images, because the images obviously on the website, I've seen this with one of the other, I think with Pluto, the sub-dials looked pink in kind of one section. So just give me a sec. I'm opening up Reddit now. Some guy posted a photo, a wrist shot of his with a Nato. Let's brighten this up a little bit. Okay, so it looks like not really. I was wrong about that. Okay, somehow this style looks a little bit plain. I don't know what it's lacking. It's strange because it's almost the same, but I think that grey section, I would like to see this without the grey and just kind of black with the black case. So basically this with the black case. But anyway, yeah, just onto the Nato. I found it comfortable. I was a little bit worried that I think over time it would kind of weaken and the Velcro would not be so sticky. So it was one of the reasons I took it off. But it's a cool little thing and I enjoyed wearing it. I didn't have a problem wearing it. Kind of harkens back to the original ones from Omega. So it's a cool little Nato, but I was always going to change it anyway. So that's that. Yeah, video's a little bit long. I hope you enjoyed it a bit. I sometimes do short videos and then sometimes I think, oh, I just kind of talk. I know some people don't like that when the video is so long, but hey, it's me you do. I quite like longer YouTube videos, so that's it. If you've got any questions, comments, let me know. If I've missed anything out or something like that, then let me know in the comments below. If you could subscribe, that would be nice. And a like would also be appreciated. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.